rahillys. Munster champions, Kerins or rahillys, their first ever Munster title. Interestingly, they are the 8th Kerry side to win the provincial championship. I mean, honestly, I would have thought that number would have been higher. Tommy Walsh was fantastic. That's one of the first things you have to say. 1-1 scored. He set up the second goal for Barry John Keane. Huge fielding as well, at clutch moments. He caught crucial ball for Kerins rahillys when their backs were against the wall. I mean, we have to talk straight away when we talk about this game. Obviously, Kerins winning by 2-6 against Newcastle West of Limerick's 1-8. That mad 5 minutes at the start of the second half. I mean, 4 each at half time. Very low scoring first half, very tense first half. And then you have that mad 5 minutes straight at the start of the second half. A Tommy Walsh goal, a Mike McMahon goal at the other end for Newcastle West to bring them right back into it, a 1-point game. And from the next kick out, David Moran launches the ball into Tommy Walsh. And then he finds Barry John Keane, who nearly takes the roof off the net. 3 goals in the space of 5 minutes, having been such a dull first half in terms of attacking threat. I mean, it just shows that any game can just burst into life in a moment like that.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Somebody online, I can't remember who it was, one of the journalists compared the goal fest to something out of the Louis van Gaal Netherlands playbook of, huge balls into the full forwards and just sort of hope for the best out of it. Kerry no strangers to that over the years, of course, with Star and all that. So the only thing I would perhaps be a little bit not fearful for them is that you come up against a side who are able to defend that, and I think their options are a little bit more limited. Tommy Walsh is I think he's a year younger than me. I think he's 35. Barry John Keane has been around a good bit. He's early 30s as well. So I don't know if they have the same, not that we're writing them off as such, but I don't know if they bring the same kind of threat that some of the other teams do, perhaps with slightly younger, nippier forwards. Now, nothing against Tommy Walsh. He's obviously class, and Barry John has plenty of pace, but I don't know if they're the same threat, really. But in saying that, if the kick out to David Moore and the long ball in works, at the end of the day, you don't care as long as you win the game, especially when it comes to a knockout. That 5 minutes was, I don't know what you call it, carnage in some ways. And it was completely unexpected because the first half, as you said, was such a, not completely drab, but it was very much feeling each other out, trying to see, what was going on. Newcastle West, I think, have won 3 of the last 4 Limerick titles. They're no strangers to the Munster Championship, but they're perhaps maybe devoid of games against, strong opposition like that. So there was a sense of both sides trying to feel each other out, and it, left for a very low scoring half. And then suddenly it's like at half time, both managers just said, right, look, we spotted that the full back lines maybe are a little bit weak. If we lob the ball in, we'll get a few goals. And then it's just like both teams said the same thing at half time and just sort of went for it. So it made the game a spectacle because there was potential for it to become a bit drab, and that kind of kicked it into life. So I think Kerins would be happy just to get past it and be done with it. Newcastle, to be a bit annoyed at themselves. I can't remember exact year. I think it was in the 80s was the last time they were in a Munster final before that. So yeah, they'll learn from the experience. But all in all, I think not as exciting as the other semi-final for sure, despite the 5 minutes of chaos at the second half.
Yeah. Oh no, I think this was honestly, I think this was a missed opportunity for Newcastle West. I honestly believe that. You look at teams that have been in the Munster Championship over the last few years. You look at the likes of St. Finbarrs, Nemo Rangers have been hugely strong in Munster over the last 10, 15 years, and Dr. Crokes as well. Like, these teams have come out and been hugely strong. And Kerins, they've got beaten 3 times in the Kerry Championships, between the club and the county. So it was one of those things where you're saying Kerins had been shown to be vulnerable at stages, and against Éire Óg, they were damn lucky to get over the line in that one as well. And it was one of those things where I was looking at it saying, look, Newcastle West, the fact that Kerins' last score came in the 47th minute. 47th minute. They went the last 13 minutes without scoring. I mean, against Kilmacud Crokes, if you do that, you're done. You go 13 minutes without scoring against Kilmacud Crokes at pretty much any stage of the game, you're not going to win it, because Kilmacud Crokes, let's not forget, Kilmacud Crokes have held Port Arlington scoreless. They've held in the first half. They held it down scoreless. Sorry, Port Darlington, they held them scoreless from play. They've held it down scoreless from play in the Leinster final as well.
Yep.
They're coming up now against a Kerins side that only hit 6 points in this game, in the entire game. And their last point came in the 47th minute. And worryingly, on the flip side, Newcastle West's attack only managed to hit 1 point from play. That was from Shane Stack. 1 point from play in the entire game. And their next test now is against an attack that has Shane Walsh, Darren Mullen, Shane Cunningham. It's way harder now. And so that's why I am worried for Kerins going into this game, because I'm saying they need to be stronger at both ends. They need to be stronger at the back, because they're going to get a way bigger test now with the likes of Shane Walsh coming to town. And then they need to score more. And it's going to be really hard to do that, because I think they are coming up against the best defence left in the club championship now in Kilmacud Crokes. I mean, you look at it, Kilmacud Crokes' defence, you've got Rory O'Carroll, Killian O'Shea, Andrew McGowan that have all played for Dublin at senior level. It's hugely strong. And the fact that they held 3 in a row League champions scoreless from playing the first half. Same with the Downs in the Leinster final. That just shows they can shut teams out. And unless Kerins build on their attack strategy, I think they could be in real trouble.
Yeah, and just kind of come into my mind, I suppose, they were down to the last 4 in this and down to the last 4 in the World Cup. And in some ways, Kerins or Rahilly are possibly the Morocco of this championship. That they're the ones that nobody seems to have any faith in, that they're goosed. In some ways they shouldn't be here, as you said, because of the defeats already in their own, county championship. But yet, they will look at it as, that's grand, that suits us fine. Don't even look at us, don't care about us. But at the same time, I think that's going to go against them completely. Kilmacud will potentially rip them to shreds. Now, it will be an interesting test for McGowan, O'Carroll, etc. at the back to have to deal with someone like Tommy Walsh, because us as the Downs, I suppose, I say we, haven't played for them in a long, long time, but the Downs rely on the nippy kind of forwards. We relied on Luke and Ian. Obviously, we had Mitch up there, and Mitch, was doing some one-handed catches in the second half. But at that stage, I think Kilmacud had kind of taken the foot off the gas a little bit. Whereas if the first ball in from Kerins or Rahilly is David Moore wins the throw and decides to go route 1 into Tommy Walsh, I think it could be interesting if Kilmacud can defend that early on. I think Kerins are gone. I don't think they have a plan B. I don't think Barry John and the rest of them are going to be able to run at them. Kilmacud looked comfortable. Is probably an understatement. I hate saying that against my old club, but they looked very comfortable sitting up in the stand as well. You get a great view of their defensive setup. Everything from defence up to Craig in the middle, right up to Shane up front. They just looked like a team in first gear who could have kicked. Same against Port Darlington, they could have kicked about 640 if they really wanted to go for it. So I'd fear for Kerins or Rahilly a little bit. I would fear for the winner of Glen and Mike Cullen as well. But I think Kerins or Rahilly, I'm going to put my hand in the ring and write them off completely and say that it's Kilmacud versus one or the other in the All-Ireland final. So the fact that I know you pointed out there that the 47 minute was the last time they scored, that doesn't bode well. Like 13 minutes, Shane Walsh and Shane Cunningham had kicked 1-something in the Downs in the first 6-7 minutes. So yeah, they'll be murdered if they don't come up with a plan B, and they don't have a long time to come up with that plan, don't have any time to execute it. So yeah, they're goosed in my eyes.
Yeah, no, I think that, look at it, I think Crokes, they're just too strong. And like, my prediction for this game is I think Kilmacud are gonna blast them in the first half and then cruise it in the second half. That's what I think is going to happen. Same way they did it to Port Darlington, same way they did to the Downs. The game will be over at half time. They'll manage it out. They'll take Shane Walsh off with 10 minutes to go, and that will be it. That will be game.